Okay, in this presentation we are going to look at vector operations. We are using Julia 1.6.1 and we are using Jupyter notebooks, and as the name suggests, we are going to continue this on with another presentation with different vector operations. Now, this presentation is aimed at people who are new to computing, new to numerical computing. For example, first year mathematical science students or first year or second year engineering students, and so on. Okay, so what we are going to do is set up a vector of numeric values there. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. We're going to create an empty vector called A. Alright, so it's just no values inside it yet, but we are going to add them bit by bit. So what we're going to do here is use commands such as push and append to add items to that vector. Okay, it's called a collection, but we'll just call it vectors for the time being, not get overly technical. So function names that end in exclamation points indicate that they modify their function in that they permanently change their argument or whatever vector they are being used for. So we can add items to the end of a vector with push and append. Now we'll check out the difference. We'll see the difference between those two shortly. So I'll just concentrate on push for the time being. So we're going to add, we have an empty array, an empty vector 1, A, and we're just going to add the value 1 to it. There we go. And then same again, what we're going to do is add a second value, 2. Okay. So let's just check what we have here. Use the indexing there. Second item there is 2. First item there is 1. This is just a sort of quick check on what we're doing. So let's append. See what append does. We're going to append the value 3, okay, to A. So there we are, 1, 2, 3. So far, so good. That's what append and push do. Okay, they seem to just add values to the end of our vector. So what's the difference? Okay, so just actually before I begin, what I'm going to do here is add B, which is an entire vector, to the and append that to the end of A. Okay, so there we have A now. It has 6 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so far so good. And append works for single values. I'm just going to digress here for a second because I'm going to talk about the difference between push and append shortly. But just as a remark, there is prepend, which also operates the same way. It just adds values to the start of a collection, the beginning of a collection. Okay, so we have a collection there, a vector that has a single value 3, and we're adding the prepending the vector 1 and 2 to that other vector 3, so we end up with 1, 2, 3. So that is prepend. Okay, let's go back to what we were doing. Okay, so we had started with push. Okay, so see, we're going to push this vector 7, 8, 9 to A. Let's see what happens. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then as a single item, the vector C. That's not what we wanted. We wanted one single 9 element vector. Okay, so it just continues on 7, 8, 9. What we have here is not what we wanted. Okay, so we have to fix this. So let's just look at the last element there of A. It's the entire vector C, which is the 3 element vector. Okay, so what we should have done there is use append and to add C to the end of A, but we used push there. Push was the wrong choice. So push is for single values and append is for single values and vectors. That's it really. Okay, so how do we fix this? Well, luckily we have pop, and pop removes the last item. Okay, so that's going to get rid of that element there. So that's what's going, okay, just to check, what we should have now is, yeah, that's back to what we wanted. Okay, so we're just going to forget about 7, 8, 9 for the time being. And the last item there is 6. Perfect. Now, so we can append C to A using the append function. Now, we also have shift and unshift. Actually, we don't. We have push first and pop first. Okay, so these have been changed. So they used to be called shift and unshift, but now they're pop first and push first. So what does this do? Push first adds something to the start. So it's also like prepend. Okay. Well, it pushes a single item to the start. Okay, so there we have 7 at the start. Okay, so it just got pushed into the start. There we go, at the very beginning. And if we want to get rid of that, we use pop first, formerly known as shift. So what does that do to A? There we go, our 6-element vector. Okay, quickly, I'm just going to look at 1 or 2 other things and then we'll wrap it up. So we have the sort function here, just starting with a new vector here, D. So we're finished with A, B, and C. Let's look at D. 7, 5, 4, 6. You notice it's not in order. Okay, so we can sort it. Okay. So there we have it there, sorted. But you notice that we don't use the exclamation mark. So it doesn't actually change D, it doesn't modify it. So what we have to do there is use the exclamation mark. Okay. Sort exclamation mark D. There we go. It's changed properly, it's changed permanently. 4, 5, and 6. Just another handy one that pops up every so often as something quite useful is reverse. So this just reverses the order 7, 6, 5, 4. And again, we're not using the exclamation mark, so it doesn't change it permanently, but we can sort that out. Okay. So there we go. 7, 6, 5, 4. So those are some useful ones to get started with. When I get a chance, I'll do some more. You know, these vector operations are very good for mathematical programming and very useful, and getting very knowledgeable about them is definitely highly recommended. Okay, we'll leave it there.